Hello, it's 11 minutes past 2 on a Monday, the 27th of March. On today's show, I speak to RAIS HUSSIN, President and CEO of EMIR Research. We talk about the PM's visit to Saudi Arabia. NORDIN ABDULLAH will also be weighing in on Anwar's visit and business opportunities between both countries. Also, the PM is in Cambodia right now. We're just coming back from a press conference between the President of Cambodia and also the Prime Minister of Malaysia. HUSSIN spoke extensively about collaborations with Malaysia. We're going to be talking a little bit about that if time allows us to delve into these issues. I'm Gerard Ratnam, coming to you live from Wisma Bernama in Kuala Lumpur. You're watching The Brief on Bernama TV. We begin the news in brief with this. PMX arrived in Cambodia today for a one-day official visit to further strengthen bilateral relations and cooperation between Malaysia and the Indo-Chinese country. It is Anwar's maiden visit to the country and made at the invitation of the Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen. Anwar was taken to the Peace Palace in Phnom Penh for the official welcoming ceremony. Now, meanwhile, the Saudi Arabian government requested that PMX prolong his recent official trip to the country to schedule meetings between him and top Saudi officials. Anwar, however, had to decline the request due to a scheduled iftar with the Yang Dipertuan Agong and Raja Permaisuri. PMX will also be heading to China to meet with Xi Jinping and Li Keqiang. Now, in other news, the Unity Government's National Convention scheduled on May 14th at the World Trade Center in Kuala Lumpur can bolster the compatibility of political party leaderships under the Unity Government. The Deputy Prime Minister says the first convention following the formation of the Unity Government will provide an opportunity for the leadership of coalition parties from various levels to be together. On another development, the supply of chicken across the country is sufficient until the Aidilfitri celebrations at the end of next month. KPDN Minister says consumers need not worry about the supply since data shows that it is sufficient for Raya. Now, KPDN enforcement officers have been instructed to tighten monitoring throughout the month of Ramadan until Aidilfitri. And an update from the Parliament session earlier today, the Plantation and Commodities Ministry through the Malaysian Rubber Council is actively drawing up and implementing promotional activities to increase the export of high-value rubber products such as rubber gloves, tyres and latex mattresses. Now, the PM's political secretary, Ahmad Farhan Fauzi, described Anwar's visit to Saudi Arabia from March 22nd till the 24th as fruitful. Now, the visit, among others, boosted Putrajaya-Riyadh ties, contrary to the claims by St. Quarters that it was a failure and a waste of public funds. Now, I'm joined by Dr. RAIS HUSSIN, President and CEO of EMIR Research. RAIS, to quote an article, I'd just like to say that there was an article in Focus Malaysia which talked about two visits, two differing results. It was rather not skating, but it was giving rather different views of the PM's visit to Saudi Arabia. Now, I'd like to begin with this. What significance does Anwar's visit to Saudi Arabia hold for Malaysia's foreign policy and relations with Saudi Arabia and, of course, the broader Muslim world? RAIS?
Okay, thank you for having me, Gerard. I did read that particular article in question. My view is that I think it is too early to comment on differing results, maybe differing reactions in Saudi, but it is differing results. It's just too early, too premature to comment. Having said that, I am very, very happy to see that participatory democracy is working in high gear in Malaysia, which means people are commenting, people wanting explanation, people wanting to know what happened, and this is good for a vibrant democracy. So all constructive views and criticism must be welcome. And on top of that, it seems now people are more open to the idea of IOOI model, where every expenses must be met with the outcome and impact to the nation. I think this is another positive. So let's look at the positives of what has happened, and this actually and the reaction from the present administration, and that shows also that they are radically transparent and with regards to what has happened. They're not hiding any things, and this is actually good for the vibrancy of the democracy as a whole. But the over-the-top type of reaction by some of the politicians is probably can be done without. Why I say that is because we are the administration have inherited many of the things that has happened before. So while firefighting what is happening in country, they also have to do things outside the country, including Saudi. I'm sure it is quite known that unfortunately Saudi's royal house was invoked in the issues of 1MDB and that created a lot of unhappiness around. So I think it's a good start. I think if you look at the meetings and the royal house, Prince Saud bin Abdullah, he welcomed him in Jeddah. Prince Saud Khalid Al Faisal sent him back from Medina, and this all augurs well that the things are going to get only better. And having said that, do not forget that the Royal House did request for an extension of 2 days for the Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman to be able to meet up with the Prime Minister. And in fact, he was in Medina in the evening of the day that Anwar left Medina. So what does that mean? So the only thing is that there were some prior commitment by the Prime Minister to be in KL, then off to Cambodia and China, and so on and so forth. So I think we have to look at it in a wholesome, holistic perspective. Political optics maybe can be better, but in terms of the business optics, the activities that have happened in these 3 packed days of meetings, I think we would like to see the outcome and impact of it.
Right. So my second question for you was based on or is about the foreign policy and what implications this may have on our foreign policy. But looking at this, outside looking in, I think there's not a problem here. It's just us shaking the finger at everyone when something happens, and we try to work ground forces with things that really don't matter anymore. And this has been happening for a long time. And I think you've been commenting on this for the longest time. Would you like to give your perspective on this? You know, like every time something happens, everyone wants to shake the finger at the next person and say, aha, you didn't do this, it was like this before. This seems to be one of the biggest problems of this country. What are your thoughts on this, Datuk?
Well, we need to look, as I said, on a holistic perspective. To me, if you look at the meeting statistics, he had the meeting with the OIC, which is the United Nations equivalent for the Muslim nations, the boss of OIC, the boss of the Muslim League. There were some MOUs signed. And we must remember the NEON project, for instance, is worth in excess of $500 billion US, and not forgetting the Vision 2030 that will be trillions of dollars of opportunity in Saudi. And on top of that, meeting with the business communities, both the Malaysian businesses who are in Saudi and the Saudi businesses who have indicated interest of investing in Malaysia, particularly in few areas like food security, for instance, which we are having some challenges here. And then, obviously, the Prime Minister did give a keynote address at the Islamic Development Bank, which is also a very important institution within the realm of the Muslim nations and OIC. So what does this mean? It all augurs well for the relationship moving forward. As I said, political optics of not meeting the king and the prime minister for a variety of reasons that has been articulated now to us only shows that, yes, perhaps it could have been managed better, but at the same time, nothing should be taken out of the team who put this meeting within the short span of time. Remember, he was there at the invitation of the King and the Prime Minister, number one. And number two, he was welcomed by the Royal House, both in Jeddah and when he was leaving Medina. So we need to put that in a bigger and proper context. Obviously, some people would like to see that 5% empty glass, not the 95% with water. So, but again, participatory democracy.
Right. Participatory democracy will leave you, democracy will leave you at that. That was, of course, the good doctor, Dr. RAIS HUSSIN, joining us to weigh in on the Prime Minister's visit to Saudi Arabia. Very quickly, let's take a look at what's happening in the business world. The ringgit was traded slightly lower against the US dollar in the early session today due to escalating market uncertainties. According to an economist, today $1 is 4 ringgit and 42 sen. Now moving on to the stock market, bargain hunting boosted Bursa to open higher in sync with Wall Street, driven by a rebound in banking stocks after authorities reassured the market about financial stability. At 9:09 a.m., the benchmark FBM KLCI gained 3.2 points to 1,402.90 compared to Friday's close of 1,399.70. Now, at this point, I'd like to bring in NORDIN Abdullah, who joins us on a daily basis, or maybe 3 days a week. Is here on the show to give us his perspective on what's happening in the world, also in Malaysia. NORDIN, thank you very much for taking time off to be with us. I certainly do hope NORDIN is on the line with us. We're going to talk about the Prime Minister's visit to Saudi Arabia and also what's happening in Cambodia at this point. The Prime Minister is in Cambodia and is going to be making his way to China. NORDIN, I'd like to begin with this. How does the MOU signed during Anwar's visit contribute to Malaysia's economic development and cooperation with Saudi Arabia? I'm talking about Saudi, and you can extend this to the Prime Minister being in Cambodia and also making his way to China very, very soon. NORDIN.
It's on the classic term is a whirlwind tour. But at the same time, I think he's looking at it from the strategic opportunities that Malaysia can, one, offer to the world, and two, in terms of bringing back investment and trade back into the equation that Malaysia desperately needs to build the economy in a way that is be able to grow quickly post-COVID-19. So I think the Prime Minister has taken on himself to say, look, I'm the salesman in chief. I'm the revenue officer in chief. I'm going to go and see everybody and do my part. And I think it's a good example to set. I think meeting with the Jeddah Chamber of Commerce, these are very important businessmen, very, very deep ties to the rest of the Middle East, and very much a leading organization within the GCC or the Gulf Cooperation countries. So the fact that this has taken place is an important first step. I think everyone is looking for silver bullets and to be able to hit holes in one. But I think when you look at international business, it's a par five, to use a golf analogy. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot more than just one simple trip. But at the same time, I think the other thing that Saudi Arabia is very interesting, and we're seeing footage here of the multilateral organizations that are hosted in Saudi Arabia, the Islamic Development Bank and the World Muslim League. The fact that the Prime Minister also took the opportunity to stop and deal with the multilateral question of Malaysia within the OIC, I think also shows a certain level of leadership. So I'm quite happy to see this roll out. And I think this will see benefits in the coming months, and definitely within the next year or so, more trade and investment delegations from Saudi Arabia coming to Malaysia.
Right, we're running out of time. I've got one very long question I'm going to shoot very quickly. And if you want to add in with regards to what's happening in Phnom Penh in Cambodia, and also with the Prime Minister's visit to of course, China, you can. But this is the question. What impact will Anwar's discussions on issues faced by the Muslim world have on regional politics, and what potential outcomes may emerge from these initiatives for Malaysia and other Muslim countries? Nordin?
Well, straight away, I saw the Prime Minister's press conference just now, and he did also mention the halal industry and the fact that Malaysia can help Cambodia with this integration into this part of the global economy. So I think it's, again, leveraging off Malaysia's strengths to be able to benefit our neighbors. And this idea of prosper your neighbor or prosper thy neighbor approach has really been a very good economic development model. Of course, the next step on the journey is China. This is a very important destination market for many Malaysian products, especially coming to mind for me is palm oil. So the fact that we're looking at improving the relationships with China, looking at ensuring that those trade linkages are there, I think this is a key component of what the Prime Minister is trying to achieve, not just in terms of political views and in terms of political optics, but actually driving some of the key problems and solving some of the key problems for Malaysian businesses. And I think that's really what people are after.
Right.
I think, of course, it's always wonderful to have nice photos with all the top leaders. But one of the things that you need to remember is we need to get down to business. And I think this is where we are right now.
Right, we need to get down to business. Thank you very much, Nordin Abdullah, there, taking time off to be with us on a bit of an extended bulletin right here on Bernama TV, the brief that is. Stay with us. We're going to keep you updated with what's happening with the Prime Minister's visit to Phnom Penh in Cambodia. Some good deals being inked there. We'll bring that to you right here on Bernama TV as soon as the next bulletin comes around. With that, I'm Gerard Ratnam. This has been the brief on Bernama TV. You have a great day ahead, and thank you very much for staying with us right here on Bernama TV. Bye-bye.